in the sector of sport. And I want to thank the President of the Federation of Motocross and your team for encouraging and standing for the women and the girls.
All right, very good evening and welcome aboard to the Podium Show like every single Monday from 10 p.m. to midnight, where we preview and review in the world of motorsports, local scene, African scene, as well as on the international scene on this 19th day of May 2025. Sorry for that technical glitch, but of course we get up and running on this 19th day of May 2025. Negative Wakujubro as well as Enoch Leroy Olinga, of course, prior to the break, prior to the beginning of this show, but I can tell you that the teams I think you all supported before, or you're still supporting now, is struggling for breath. That is it. I know what is happening with the team, but Stendo needs to losing left, right, and center. It's the new normal.
It's the new normal.
It's the new normal. So the first game against Blazers, I watched it. It was a season where you'd think maybe Blazers has brought in very many players, Dulebas, Inabus and the rest, but expect these guys to pull up their socks, but they're losing to teams like Rockets and what the hell is going on with these guys. Anyway, welcome aboard. We are going to write some benefit out of motorsport, local scene, African scene, as well as international scene. To add on MX round 4. Wadi Edida OMITO who were there, and we'll definitely bring up a few things did transform my event here. But of course, history was made in LIRA. First time MOTOCROSS Okwange, that track, really exciting track. Then on the international scene, we had the F1 Imola, that was in Italy, as well as DRS in Portugal. Oje so the Okwanga Komongangwa rally the 7th time in a row, the 7th time rather. Then of course the F1, which was won by Max Verstappen. Of course, the number of records that were set over the weekend. Madam Neya Oje, Oitsana Kokubanga was a stage winner. That's a career milestone. We had the Wadi. A particular can say when I gave a Wazako, then Tanikane sad news. Yadima is one of our own motorsport enthusiasts, a doctor, a fanatic, everything. Dr. Ata AHIMBISIBWE. Yo.
Abatulaba batuliza tubalamusiza nnyo mwebala okufuna akadde ne mwekomera ku Fufa Media, Fufa TV, Fufa FM nga twogera ku motorsport program yaffe gye mwagala ennyo, the Podium. Mukulikeyo mu weekend ne mukulikeyo mu week. Of course, we had an activities is a motorsport mu Uganda n'ebweru. Unfortunately, mu Kenya is a international sasobolodde kuziraba. I managed to pick a bit of information here and there olwaleero. Twabadde LIRA, twabadde motocross round 4 for the first time in LIRA, which was very interesting. It was something that I think chalaze nti potential ya development ne growth ya sport wa mamboka wa Uganda. There's rich. It's going to be rich. But never to pushing it down. Okuja konti it was very unfortunate what happened to our chief medical officer of the federation, Dr. Arthur, who departed over the weekend, and that basically more or less brought the moods down. But other than that, it's been a very busy weekend.
Yeah, Starboy.
Yes, we were in your Delakesh, era ndi musanyufu okudda ku show for the Podium. Nagala kuyogera okwebaza abatulaba n'abatuliza Fufa TV ne ku Fufa Fama 102.1. Mwebale nnyo mwebali ddala kuwagira sheno, tubagalira nnyo ddala. Yes, lots of motorsports activities this weekend. MX, and those are LIRA mu Lango region, right?
Yes.
Aha, yes, LIRA in Lango region. Very, very absolutely good for motorsports as a whole. Nokulaba minister, yasobodde okuwayo to grace the event. Absolutely amazing. Definitely F1, interesting. WRC, about Toyota. Aha. Yes, then of course, unfortunately, weekend, of course, Teawe de Bulungi knew with another very, very, very unfortunate death again, in the ranks of motorsports in Uganda. Man, tough, but yeah, kwegezako okwekuuma, kwongera okusabira Mukama atuyambye at protecting ebyo bye tukola. ne biba bitatugenderedde bulungi era tuyongere eddala okubisabira ngala okusabira omwoyo gwa Dr. Arthur awumule emirembe. I think he was laid to rest today, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah. So, and God strengthen and the family. So yeah, it's a very, very sad time for motorsports for sure.
Yeah. Before we pay tribute to Dr. Arthur, that would be, I was talking about, Enoch was talking about applauding people for watching the show. I was in it over the weekend. I happened to be there for 2 days and went somewhere after day one for some fun. Landed onto 2 guys who adult watchers of this show. They're like, Mukulu, press your order and we call up. You so parking and that is why it didn't work out for me. But thanks for watching wherever you are. I really get a lot of joy. You keep telling me you get lots of uploads. Same with Enoch, and it keeps us moving for this show every single Monday. But the sad news of the demise of Dr. AHIMBISIBWE, they tried to gain en route to LIRA for the event. That was on Saturday morning because we left way hours of the night. Then we in transit we saw a bike coming back to, it's like no bango genda. Then you see someone passing you. So I wasn't really so much because I didn't know he was the one. And then we reached that side in the evening. That's when we got to know about the news at around 4 that doctor had passed on in a motor in an accident. It's a lot. It's so disheartening. Motorsport is losing people. Where do we even begin from? Mopal. I remember the last time I had an interaction with Doctor Mopal. I was at the FMU office because before the secretariat shifted, the power secretary shifted from Kampala to Mbarara, Lakeview. We had a chat with him. Because I was processing my license, like, did you do medical? Like, yeah, I did. Okay, all the best. Then he went into office, talked to the Olivia's and Stevens Okonga, and he left us. And last time I saw him. Then again, that's when the Nazemo Mulabatenga was we were heading back to Ghana. Now, I'm sorry, the mama that had gotten an issue, so he was rushing back to help out the mother. That's when incident happened.
He was actually the doctor on duty in LIRA,
for the event.
For the event in LIRA, MOTOCROSS 4. Era yatuuka bulungi nakola inspections nakwatagana ne the LIRA hospital and the doctors from LIRA hospital that were got to be on ground. Never tegeka bulungi what was going on. So in the night nafuna information that the mama yalafunye injury. Emergency kati nga ina okudda naye nakera kumakya nasooka akwatagana ne badoctor natereeza ebyo to make sure that things are going to run
for the event before him coming out. Kati nayo kasimbula najja era ffe tugenda kutuuka ku ground nga badoctor batuuse ne batuwulira kuba nali ku jury ne batulira brief gye abawa what they should be able to do. So what we did was go through the rest of it. It was a bit unfortunate around lunch time otufuna mawulire nti afunye accident tulaba n'ebifaananyi which were a bit scary. Then sometime in the evening Mwami Honorable President Akena na confirming nti bamutuse Kampala avudde Kiryandongo Hospital atuse Kampala. So like okay na izo bagenda mukolako because
hardly 30 minutes later
there's also a referral hospital in Kiryandongo.
Ati basuka mutwala awo. Then from there was evacuated to Kampala. Hardly 30 minutes later tufuna information nti yakitadde. Ekisinga kunnuma is that abantu bafa aba motorsport ate bafa mu bintu ebikwatagana ne speed which is what we're dealing with. It is something it is a bit of a concern. It might be a dark cloud ne njagala naffe tufunemu nga aba motorsport, because our sports about speed, and these incidents zibaawo wezibeerako track, we prepare for them. Choba anti medical teams zibeera nnyo kugona. Whenever I go for motocross events, I am always very particular the medical facilities zibeera ku track. They respond, first of all, they are adequate and they respond quickly. Katinga ambulance yaliwo yabadde LIRA ku ground. That one can take you anywhere in Uganda. It is a moving ICU. Katwitaga ambulance ngeyo. It was perfect from Ministry of Health. If our own people are losing their lives out of speed, especially on the road, then nandagada nnyo fenga motorsports, okay, to reviewing to how to take lead in mitigating these road accidents, to see what we need to do about it.
The person has really served the sport diligently. A producer saw the condolence message from the Federation of Motorsport Clubs of Uganda, FMU. Are you displaying it? So what am I displaying it? One on the MPU Motorsport promo. Also that letter that was written by FMU, the condolence message, the family of the late Dr. AHIMBISIBWE Ndeje Lubugu Kampala, 19th day of May 2025, references condolence message on the passing of Dr. AHIMBISIBWE. It is with profound sorrow and deep sense of loss that the Federation of Motorsport Clubs of Uganda, FMU, extends heartfelt condolences to the family, friends and colleagues of Dr. AHIMBISIBWE following his untimely passing in a tragic road traffic accident. Dr. Arthur was a distinguished and dedicated member of FMU, a member of two of our affiliated clubs, MPU Motorsport Club and Uganda Bikers Association. Yes, na Uganda Bikers nga haddeyo ku Twitter ku excando yawe nga raising the same issue. He served with honor as a valued member of FMU Safety and Medical Commission since 2022. His commitment to motorsport safety and athletic well-being was unmatched, and his contribution was instrumental to the growth of professionalism of medical support in our events. Over the years, Dr. Arthur offered his expertise during multiple editions of the Africa Rally Championship, ARC, Pearl of Africa Rally in Uganda, where he served with diligence, professionalism, compassion. His exceptional service and reliability led to his nomination by FMU to the WRC Safari Rally Medical Team in Kenya 2024 and 2025, a role he fulfilled with great pride and distinction, further raising Uganda's profile on the global motorsport stage. We are devastated by his loss, by this loss of a colleague, a profession, and above all, a kind-hearted and selfless servant to the sport. His absence will be deeply felt across the entire motorsport fraternity. On behalf of the entire FMU Executive Secretariat Motorsport community, we extend our prayers and deepest sympathies to his family and loved ones during this difficult time. May his legacy inspire continued excellence in safety and medical service within motorsport, and may his soul rest in eternal peace. As a symbol of appreciation and solidarity, FMU has contributed 2 million shillings, and his colleagues at the FMU executive have further contributed 380,000 as these contributions, in addition to the outgoing contributions from the entire motorsport fraternity, all of which will be handed over to the family in support during this time of grief. With deepest sympathy, President Jimmy, Honorable Jimmy Akena, President, Federation of Motorsport Clubs. A condolence message eri ku letterhead ya FM chobola kuliko FIM Africa, National Council of Sports, Africa Rally Championship, the film. Enoch, memories of Doctor?
My last memory and ya Doctor actually was during the WRC Safari Rally 2025 edition. Actually, even in 24, twali fenna ku Rally HQ era we yajja okuyingira Rally Control. It was very, very good. It was always a pleasure okubeera naye kuba emboozi zetwanyumyanga zaali very, very fulfilling, in terms of safety and medical especially. Era we twali fenna at the WRC this year, twali twogera ku how to improve on the medical training of our motorsports practitioners here. Because of my experience and my open window, if I can put it that way, towards the FIA, nina contacts ezali zigenda okubeera very, very helpful, towards the medical commission. Tenga naye yali aforming a very good bond with the WRC medical delegates, who is Dr. Gatley from Kenya, who is actually a heart surgeon, so twalina very, very, very developmental conversations that twalina the WRC. Era newe twakomawo fenna on the same flight, so it was really, really quite bothering okufuna amawulire ago ate ne mukadde, amawulire bwegajjira. We were already mourning another very, very close friend of mine. So for me, it's really been a rough 2 weeks, to be honest. But tujagezaako nnyo okulaba nti hopefully the medical commission under now Dr. Bogere and Dr. Muwonge bajja kusobola okugezaako okuzimba Dr. Arthur kyabadde akolako ne kyabadde agezaako okuteekawo in that commission. Era nga Jobo agambye nti that is one very, very, very important aspect of motorsports, because it's a very dangerous sport. So tuba twetaaga okugiteekamuuko ku maanyi nga Dr. Arthur bw'abadde akoze okugenda mu WRC n'okufuna experience from the very experienced people. So yeah, bajja kwetaaga quite a lot of support. Era fenna ab'omu fraternity we need to join hands twekumire wamu, tugezeeko okulaba nga in Dr. Arthur's memory we contribute more towards the medical commission, improving our medical services in these motorsports events, because at the end of the day bikwata neku funds, so
I think that's why the framers of the constitution balavanti the safety and medical commission, the vice president,
yes,
heads that docket. And for you, it's a given for you to be on that commission. You have to have that background of you can't find you can't find the Katabarwa. But what you don't put our hands up in the assembly. What kind of nomination are you giving for such people? You must have, and I've seen Dr. Mwonga and Dr. Bogere. Dr. Bogere previously the president of MP.
Yes.
Trying to, as much as possible, because the sport get William, it's safety and medical, just move hand in hand. In one of the stages, the recent PAL and the Yakagwan, I think it's a cow. Just out of the brow, we sang a gooning a zebra, and there's a way this come was seat as if I could even extend even behind. It's kind of scared. It's kind of scary. I think even the fact in the end one of the crew, I think it was Susan.
Yes.
Yeah, they have the same incident. I meant to Sinamanya where you phone here. They have a feeling they know Gavaya Brown, Nazi, Naji, that stage had very many brows cutting. You're crossing across that ranch, so it's kind of scary. So then for the Uganda Bikers Association, I think since last year there has been a consistent, but that association has lost very many people.
Yeah. Yes.
More so still on the Ngabali ku transit. All right, we'll be back from that short commercial break. It's the Podium to be back every single Monday from 10 p.m. to midnight, where we preview and review everything in the world of motorsport. Enoch LIRA and Jobro, who was a jury? A jury member.
First class.
Gamba abantu jury member chakitegeeza abantu bajja loza wabadde mu kooti sebo ngo yambadde biye bikofiira bya white.
That's wabadde
I need to be specific. Nawe mutadde namutadde nakayingirawo nti mu track. Bagamba ajja kuze Kampala.
Ku VVIP.
But I like the guy was doing the MC. The guy was doing the MC was really
the announcer
top notch. Okay, over the weekend there are very many happenings in the world of motorsport. We'll start off with the international scene, then get back to climax it up with the next round 4 over the weekend. As history was made, F1 they were in Italy, and Max doing a lot. Could be a place where he likes to go and compete. And he's showing that despite the fact that he's between, of course, Piastri still leads the championship, Lando Wakubiri, Max is third, but he's poaching on these two McLarens, and I think he's doing a really good job.
Yeah, absolutely. Oyo nati tumuita one man army. Yeah, because botunuliramu his last 4 championships really. Ononya teammate we nga twena wogena musanga. So you know he's literally been a one man army.
Michael Massey. Maybe that one where you saw this from
Sergio Perez.
Perez, yeah, he tried, but the others is just good being solo.
Yeah, absolutely. Tugenda netubere ku mukuto gwa Formula 1 netuwayawayamu netugamba nti most of the drivers basobeddwa okuvuga emotoka because the car has been developed according to Max Verstappen's likes and abilities. Ate gwe sobola okuyita generational talent. Ate omanyi mu generational talent normally ofunayo omuntu ng'omu kati nga Lewis Hamilton was a generational talent. Michael Schumacher was a generational talent. Anton Senna was a generational talent. Omanya obajja kugamba maybe Prost. In my opinion, not so much. So it's quite interesting okulaba nti era nga Kesho wagambye this season, or actually from last season into this season, Red Bull is second best. Naye achateekawo embeera ey'okulaga nti he can still compete at the top end of the sport. Okulaba nti bw'olaba qualify actually all the way from free practice 1, 2, and 3. I think he was nowhere near the podium, in free practice. Naye at the end of the event, okulaba he started second on the grid and was able to take the win off Oscar Piastri, who was on pole, after qualifying. So yeah, I mean, ngawe ngambi generational talent nti ye avuga, right now we know the Red Bull is struggling as a car and as a team, but his ability to drive beyond what the car is able to do it's really, really quite amazing.
I think you don't need a driver quantum as many races to know that he will be a prospect, because even Max was the driver of it over the weekend. But of course, starting from P2 to finally winning the race. But in general, that race later, where for lack of a better phrase, where he burst onto the F1 scene in 2016, that Spanish Grand Prix when they promoted him from Toro Rosso.
Yes.
They were demoting Daniel Kvyat.
Yes.
That race, of course, that's a championship, Nico Rosberg, the Awangula, where they had a battle near Hamilton. And in the first corner, they were crashing out, because they were body front row. They were vam. So this guy now leading a race. Leading a race, he led that race from that time. To even bring it even better. You're holding off a champion in Kimi Raikkonen for the bigger part of the race. I'm like, the decision Christian Horner Jakoze, because many team principles are decisions. Cutting all of us in Dohani, but it gets back to you as a team principal on which driver goes so government. Same thing with Ferrari. With Hamilton, it was a decision which could have divine over time. Are there the records for you? Races we now, I mean, very many records for Red Bull in that race. But Joe, in the Nintendo, the change kiriza. First is to get to Monaco. Ne change kiriza. The Constructors' Championship for this year, again, our McLaren, they're going to defend it. Yes. Last year they won it after a very long time. It has still because Max didn't have that good partner of collecting as many points as they could. Yes. But in terms of the Drivers' Championship, it's high time, in my view, for McLaren to make a decision on who is the number 1 driver, because in my view it's going to cost them. Because in race land they had the work of Piastri had the work set. Piastri had to do pole. He couldn't defend that pole position just sold up one. Of course, Hamilton has a Ferrari a home race, never being 4th. Seconds away from the podium, you get a feeling if you had been there, would have been icing on the cake. But there was a tight time McLaren. They made that decision. It's it's getting but by the time you wake up and say, I wish we had ordered this guy to back off for this one to get those points, it cost in the championship. And Max, none of those 2 drivers is better than Max Verstappen. Aggressiveness, pace, and everything.
Unfortunately, Zakuvada, I don't believe in team orders unless a situation ekulaganti yet I decide at that point in time. Can I say team advantage kemagala protecting. Unfortunately, event in Sajilabie, and I agree with Enoch Nti. Max was he has a bit of talent. Actually, right now he's one of the best talents we have. But Ojakwesta Nganti, his reign is not going to be so long-lived. Nga Hamilton, Baba Denga Schumacher wayali nti hardly 3-4 years into his dominance. You McLaren has a team of drivers who at any one point in time are very competitive and can make it. And exactly. Competition yamanyi. In most cases, I agree that McLaren has every advantage. And so far, but drivers were squaring up Bulungi. It's a team order. Sichuagera nyo kubanga nze ndoza nti olusi kyekaleeta ne gundi the other German eyali mu gundi eyali mu Mercedes ne now he's driving in some team which is he's almost doesn't even appear before Russell came, the one who Russell replaced.
Finnish driver.
Bottas, yes. Yainamu ka issue ako. Nzondoza nti ba drivers bekuba omuliro until it gets to a point when it is either one or the other. Then there you can start to make a decision. But where people are fighting, it is still equally paced. They let the drivers go out to each other. The one who comes out on top should be able to have it. McLaren is having it so far. And fortunately, both riders, both McLaren drivers have a chance of closing in on the championship. Although Max seems to be, having a slight upper hand. But if those two, at this point in time, decide to play what I call syndicate on Max, they can keep boxing him out for the rest of the events. They might come pushing. But if they can agree, who do we root to be able to take the lead?
So if you are Stella in McLaren, who would you pick?
Honestly, in my opinion, I would pick Oscar Piastri, Kuba.
You have to give us 5 different reasons.
5 different reasons. One, his racecraft is really very good. 2, he's never struggled with his stats. 3, he has more aggression than Lando. 4, he's a team player. Botulida World races last year, when the team called on him to give the chance to Lando, and he did.
But even Lando did the same in Hungary.
Well, it was a struggle here and there. Lando cookies Okumua. Then 4, I just believe outright Ali better than Lando Norris.
In terms of talent.
Yeah, even talent-wise, yes. Talent-wise. Kuba Olava Bogata, aggression, Jalina, his ability to read the race, his stats, that is really talent.
Lando singing Piastri.
Lando Chinese singing Piastri. Apart from age, 1 is where he's from. the country he represents, because for some reason, over UK. Yeah, but Lando aina incredibly sometimes akuwa some very good pace, some very good speed on certain circuits that you will actually need, and also alina more experience than Oscar. So probably as the advantages are izo kubera nazo, but all round I believe Oscar is a much better package. All round.
Yeah, I don't disagree much with him, and I think you continue. I think both of them play very well together. They are both disciplined competitors. In all cases, yes, Lando might have had an issue one time. At that point, but they're both disciplined, and I also think Piastri has a bit more oomph, a little bit more oomph than Lando. And when he gets a position, he can hold, and then when he busts out and he takes it, he just lets it to go. We have a long distance runner who runs faster in the last 500 meters. That guy, Jacob, that guy, except again. Malay, Mumba Mukoi, 500 now, Tukalinata and the Copters, Katine Piastri, Kamravam. Then whenever those three are within the close positions, boxing mkuru wa Maxwell so kadeke bali to squeeze him out.
Is it? I think that finish for Ham fourth. He deserves the
it's an improvement from 7.
The other thing is done this year. Before that,
yes,
he won the sprint race in China. His first sprint, ever since the introduction of sprint races, he saw coming like, hey, Hamilton, come. So even this one is a plus, being being fourth. More so at their home race, Ferrari's home.
Yeah, very true. I mean, one this would honestly speaking a lot better. At least have account on the podium or even two. Or an advantage in at home. The Wakoma the home track with Mukolera testing and whatnot. So honestly, there would have been more. Probably not even from Hamilton and Leclerc, because Leclerc has been a lot more in the team. Yeah. But well, Hamilton getting fourth, good. Pretty good.
This weekend, if one again at Monaco, of course, only this street race. Chevachu some this year as far as the rules and regulations. In Monaco, to make it more interesting, because the previous Paul.
Yes.
There are 78 laps. Katibachu Samonti, at least every team has to do 2 pit stops.
2 pit stops. Mandatory.
Mandatory 2 pit stops. Kati never now wins over dynamics, change of dynamics. There
was a year where Daniel Ricciardo lost the Grand Prix win because of a pit strategy. Same to Leclerc as well, lost the Grand Prix because of a pit strategy, and I think Bottas as well on one other Grand Prix. So Zendaba Chamani Nyoku try Ogezako life into Monaco. In all honesty, Monaco is it's a possession race.
Exactly. It is one of those races that has many laps. 70 laps.
70 laps in a possession.
It's the track in 3.3.
History has it.
3.3 kilometers. So you're doing 78 laps. Every lap has 3.3 kilometers. It was a distance of 260.3 kilometers. Just imagine you're just doing a Kampala road. Let's go to the scenario from where come through Mavidezi.
Mavidezi, which one?
Down Crane Chambers. All the way down Okiride ku Stanbic Bank, intersection of Victoria University, paka wanse ku bitala bya Jinja, then okoma
wanse paka bitala bya Jinja wano ku yard na kutwala paka ku roundabout. That one
awali Gonde Garden City
na kwa Parliament na roundabout subway.
Yes.
No keeping extreme left.
Chitogeza ko
those are okay, away from the F1, which is upon us this weekend in Monaco, Komi will definitely get back, and we bring you up to speed in the episode of Wanga Beta. But of course, Max did dominate, winning the race, as well as being the driver of the day. Away from that, Portugal, and a lot. The Toyotas have dominated in the recent past, from Kenya, where they Babikola. Of course, Hyundai bajja ku Podium. Then they were just Spain. They were almost 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Then finally, until that incident, Sami Payari. These are until the incident, Sami Payari. That's when Hyundai were flipping. In fact, if it wasn't for that incident, there was no way Hyundai was getting it. But
Payari yabazanyira ku olwo.
Agenda mu Hyundai mundabire ddala bwenatuuta tendabye mundabire ddala he has a billion reasons to say you guys okubanga mumuwa byonna. But your take on the event, one of the greatest of all time. Who is the greatest of all time? One of the greatest of all time, or greatest of all time?
No, one of the greatest of all time, I think. Honestly,
difference in Okwali as one in a row, on his 1-8, not in a row.
Give or take. Condition.
I mean the eras differ.
Yeah, exactly. Omani, debate your greatest of all time is quite. Yeah, it's quite subject to quite a lot of factors because eras in amuko kunjawulo. Ate
wasanga Juma Manja akuwe his take. Ate you
I can imagine.
You laugh on your head.
No, actually, but we're being all honest. Oje alina quite a higher case of greatest of all time. Why? Tubotunira championships zo musanvu zirimu different teams over a certain span of years.
Yeah.
Ochiraba naye wotunira eza Sebastian Lobo mwenda zonna zali mu timu ye. Yadenga of course mwalimu enjawulo ya regulational changes that also comes with its own basket of pros and cons. Ochiraba. So
what defines greatest? What defines greatest?
That's actually a very, very good question. What defines greatest?
What defines greatest?
Statistics.
So should you say that the crew of Mansulu will run and
statistics are Portugal really quite interesting. But leader from history into Portugal has always been Toyota land, in my opinion. Kuba, from the return of Toyota into the WRC, Portugal was really an area Jebasovoranga okuvugira ddala obulungi era nga bwe bakola the Safari Rally. So my take teyabadde nnyo. I wasn't so surprised okulaba performance Toyota gye yataddewo. I was actually a little bit way more surprised Pesia Oitanak on this event. It was really quite surprising kuba saakisuubira naye given the third position he had and also the conditions, I think Zali quite a little bit favorable where Tandikira okuteekawo a very brilliant performance from the beginning of the event to lead the rally I think all the way into Saturday afternoon. Unfortunately, we have found obuzibu bwa power steering failure, but it was quite interesting. It was also the first gravel rally Jababa Debakola with the new Hankook tires. Okay, more representative of what the rest of the European gravel rallies is. Kuba Omutainzo Gamant, but Safari was gravel. Yeah, the difference with the surface of Safari and the rest of Europe is actually quite significant. So.
Toyuna see the same terrain in Kenya.
Yeah, no, Tetulina, because you see the surface here Kenya is more soft and sandy, soft and towards more sandy. I tell you, the rest of Europe is more abrasive and hot, you know, with rocks.
Comparing Safari to Turkey and Greece,
yes.
How far apart are they?
Quite very far apart. Quite very far apart. Why? Because Turkey and Greece has more rock surface.
But it's loose,
yes, exactly. It has more rock surface and it has more loose gravel. Safari, we do not have loose gravel. We have more sandy conditions. We have more soft soil. We have more black soil and Soisambu and Elementaita. Yes, fresh. Kuba enkuba bwetonya disaster. You know, so yes, and
but even if it doesn't rain, it's still disaster.
Yeah, exactly. It's still a disaster.
More
yes.
so for in the second pass, you see them struggling.
Absolutely. Yeah. So that's why really, Botunri Data selection here Safari, they were all basically driving the soft tire. And unlike in Portugal, where you had to make a choice whether the soft tire or the hard tire. I think Botunri mu no dayo mu pre-recce interviews, but driver was saying we are really praying it does not rain, because unfortunately they had a chance of testing the software in Portugal before and no one liked it. You know, so that means Hancock still has development of the software. So yeah, I mean, sad for Hyundai. Naye is still very happy. No making sure at least we did get to that second spot on the podium. So it sets up a very good picture for Sardinia.
He won 12
yes.
of the 24 stages. He won half of the stages. And in fact, he led the biggest part of the rally until that power sharing issue. Maybe Shilalanti, this event has, since this season began, it has had the highest number of entries. 91 of them. 61 finishers, but the DNFs are the ninja, over 30 of them.
Yeah,
it's a huge.
45 entries in WRC2.
Yeah,
very big.
Yeah,
very big.
Oliver Solberg dominating that class as well. I think Loza is making a case. I get a feeling that Bari Papila, in my view, Okumoa, if you want to come Hyundai, Kati, Enojari, if National in Mugweramu, some are even suggesting Neji Mugweremu, Buderi Mugweremu. But I think this year it's Evans here. I won 118 points. I just get a feeling he's about 88 and 86, not far away. I don't really call him back this year, so I just feeling that the icing on the cake.
Icing on the cake in the championship. I know Joe Alina Binje Byokogera ku musonga eyo. So Joe, take it away please.
In all honesty, it's chikwatagana n'okuteeka Evans asigale waggulu awo kinkolera. It up to a point where you can actually start singoya yabye mupiira, you know, that kind of mentality. Nasoka vemo yanyigewa mu if kata kuwaingira
one stage in the entire rally. That should be a scare for Evans fanatics.
Which for me it wouldn't be. Lwansonga nti kanjogerenga Albert watera kugerera Hyundai. Faba Evans tubala championship. Kati wetutuka mu final tulaba nti abaana batukuba omuliro tuga it's okay. Kabetwale katufune points ze tujja kusemera. Tukobe tukubeko.
66 finishers, that is 72.5%. Tana kyangu de stages 12 oje 5 Fomo 2 Kale 2 Evans emu Takamoto emu ne Thierry emu. Rally leaders Tana kyakulembedde rally from the first stage paka ku the 16th stage, then Ojo nakulembedde from the 17th stage paka ku 24th stage. So hard luck to Tanak and Kongs to
Is a super Sunday goes in.
5 points. 5 points. What? Wait, the producer. So Somelo at Third once.
Who won the first stage?
Somelo at Third once.
Oh, what day?
Somelo at Third.
But you know, Jetu, what the event surgery, just the fact that Tanak yawangudeko stage muyoka chikulaga nti
no yangudde Evans yangudde Evans
just kiraga nti tyabadde mu equation yamu
yeah,
and I like a driver atuka mu race mu competition ne match kana nalaba nti katule kiganye let me make the best of what I have in a very comfortable position ngera nsubira next event we shall be able to recoup somewhere.
It's nothing is synonymous to us. In PAL. En route to the Kabuta and Ankole stage, we go to forum to the communication from the CRO. From the COC to the CRO. Look at the power stage has been, Dukari 6.11 kilometers has been cancelled. The power stage. But the ARC cruise, never call it, never covering on the ARC, not on the, that's why we won't have points on the NRC. But for us, doing competitions, we're in the lead. We don't need to win the next 2 stages. Kabuta and Ankole. So those ones who saw Evans as he was walking down the aisle. That's the same speed as what happened. It's the Podium Show every single Monday from 10 p.m. to midnight, where we preview and review whenever in the world of motorsport, local scene, African scene, as well as on the international scene. Program across the entire world using, of course, the Familia app. Just download the App Store, Play Store, Fufa TV, no, 102.1, Fafama, wherever you are, across the entire world. To have them using the app, and you could definitely listen into the radio as well as watch TV, as well as the program and streamed Fufa TV, that YouTube channel. So kubango jilaba wona osinzira kubango across the entire world. People traveling in life, you meet people of different spheres. There's a guy who's apparently working in Cambodia, and he's an ardent view of this show. It's called and he sends me message. And I can't record, you know, and they are Googling it, and they say Cambodia. They come to so now I direct phone call, not even WhatsApp call, direct phone call. I'm going to save you your time and call me via WhatsApp. Mwawali inzo kukosa WhatsApp call. So you know, Papa will look at that. So thanks for joining the queue. Okay. But I want but it's a lot. The National Sports Act we keep talking about here. One of the things when we're interacting as producer, just what we find in the footage, what informed the moving of sport from the centers here to the outskirts of the entire country is the National Sports Act, because that act, for you to be considered a federation, you must cover at least 75%, and your General Assembly, abajjo kulonda mu assembly, balina okuva from at least 50% of that 75% of the country. I know even the 50% of the delegates, it's synonymous even if you are an association, because association is not 50% coverage. Na ya atene obango zemo General Assembly ya association, you must have members from at least 50% of that 50% coverage. It's kind of so motorsport. So it's a catch-22 situation. But there you have history made in LIRA with motocross being in OMITO. I tried to get how many kilometers they are from LIRA, because Narabie, Kampala to Camden is 270 kilometers. Then from Camden to LIRA is 70 kilometers. That's the
equivalent of Kampala to Jinja. Tell them.
No, it can't.
It can't. No, that's
close to. Kampala Jinja is out.
Oh, you're saying Ogamba LIRA to Camden to LIRA.
Yes.
Just about. It's about 82 or something.
Difference in jam. But it's there are very talking points. Joe are there. You bring up the speed, but there are very talking points about the even before the action itself, the hospitality. The guy, I remember the guy who goes from the park to OMITO. I mean, sometimes when you go to such places, you're asking a place in a tori that clear. One time we do it, I'm going to work. Given you get there's some bit of the contacts. Who made the contact? Who made the guy who picked us and he was his contact.
Never mitotia abengulu bali very clear, bali very hospitable. Era obakulaba nti olabikola mupya olinganga abuze they guide you. Kuba bagala ove with a very good impression. Omitonze yansanyusiza nnyo in very many ways. Ekisooka nayegeddeko I was a jury member, so as usual otuuka no inspecting a track. That was the first time I was here. I was going to that track. I was taken away by the track. Bulijjo tugamba nti tulina okubeera ne bwe tubasobola kuba na design ya track zaffe nga tulina bafans balina aerial view. which is something it gives you a bit of safety, but it gives a bit of a good show. Kati track yabadde tuwa area view nga fans babeera elevated nga track etambulira wansi sekere nga ekifo kiri flat bulungi nga this one nga kimalayo about 5 acres. Kati from the organizer Henry Honorable Akena UMX, it took them 2 weeks to put the track together. And His Highness, or His Excellency, or His Eminence, His whatever, George Semakula was the architect of that track. Honestly, it was a very nice track. In my view, it should be one of, it's work in progress, but it has the potential to be one of the best tracks we have in Uganda, Ruachi, because it gives you everything. Stretches mwazidi, jumps mwazidi, tights mwazidi, technical corners mwezili. Ate wona woli olabira ddala nti there is a vast stretch of everything. Into the track yokuli gyendabye nga temulimu ups and downs in terms of world terrain bwe yambuka waggulu atikira. It's all on a flat surface. Then so the track itself mubadde mu bungondi obadde bubulamu, but with it being the first event, it having been done in such a short time, give it a few more months and a few more events and work on it. It is going to be one of the best tracks. I only hope that they maintain it and they improve on it. In terms of
the texture, it's the soil texture.
Mwabademu sand, namubamu soil. Then it's a mixture of first it was very dusty, very dusty track. So you need to be able to water it. So what is going to be a challenge moving forward is putting sprinklers at different points, so that the track is continuously sprinkled over to try and mitigate the dust. Bachigezezaako naye tekyatuse bulungi, but either way I like the fact that competitors rest through what was available ne bamalayo. Secondly, abantu okujja okulaba okumanya nti waliyo competition that never heard of it. We have seen motorcycles are good, but it is just turn left, right. It's not nice. Just stretches out. Ne practice run where I turned say it piqued interest. Where are you? You're missing. Practice run where I turned say I think phone calls. For the first time outside Kampala, I saw a very big crowd. Abazokulaba pichi. Kati women in motorsport was also very active in terms of branding, in terms of trying to promote women in motorsport, talk about safety, talk about sanitation. There's this girl Chantal who was heading that program. They were actually very busy doing all those things. Never was the Chinawagadeko Mwamikesh is the discipline. Which for me I found very commendable. Kubanga tewabadde kasigiri, tewabadde omuntu yayombye, tewabadde abantu bagamba ffe tutegeera nnyo, kasaba bagambye nti temusala wano mukeme wano. There was no crisscrossing. Abadde ba crisscrossing ffe baffe abava e Kampala, ffe baffe ba rider parents, ffe baffe ba officials. Naye nga abantu ba OMITO ab'e LIRA omuntu watudde ku makya paka kawungezi tavaawo. Which was, I think, very commendable. So I think the event was for me it was colorful, it was very well attended. Twafunye chance na tufuna Minister of Gender, Labour and Social Development, Honorable Betty Amonge, yatuse on day 2. Yatuse nga I think it was MX vets, MX 125 and vets were on. Nekudako MX1, MX2, then the women in motocross. N'abalaba nebaganta abo bakyala nasoka neyabuuza nti you mean even abakyala bavuga mbu yes, you should see they even smaller kids. It's not possible. Nasoka balaba nateka nawa speech awe ntonotono na taking a group photograph, even offered the women. She was so impressed. Offered the ladies 3 million. They yavuze naganta offered you 3 million. Just to thank you for what you're doing. Nagamba nze pichi nzagala naye nzitya sagala kuziraba nabagamba kusoko kakane bamuterawo piwi bubebi nga bubuse God. But what was very commendable is that the flamboyant riders made it very attractive for fans. The Walid Omar, Wazir Omar, Gift, Miguel, they had fun as they were riding, and there's nothing as interesting as riders having fun. Never child why in a competition here where women in motorsport. When they're on track, as soon as the bikes are packed, you find them together, friendship way, which I think is very, very nice.
One of that track had order to start, then no general call that first the left. Yeah. Then from the left, there was a jump. Then from the jump, there was a tabletop. Kati, very interesting to see how
people take the tabletop.
People taking the tabletop. Now be a gift. Ngakola kulizi whip.
Because whip.
Gift ya dajana kuba jump. Start. I thought ajakuba amoid. Kona muzasa show amoid start. Naga they were racing against lap times. They wanted ina lap times jaba diagonal kola. Body heat. Elije nkoze no then judge so I thought because of his dominance in his class. Ngaloza solo kuwa maybe nti bagende in that first corner then abagobe, which wasn't the case. And he led. He won all the 3 hits in his category. Naye the way he was taking that that is Gift Sebuguzi, bike number 16. The way he was taking that tabletop, kuba jump with maximum commitment, natuka ku top, ku depot top, now whipping a pitch and everyone goes ablaze. Now landing a once, I think landing a once we know right. Just after that landing, there's a right. I think it's sharp in the then from that right, government can mean so that today. Yeah, that's so could you call that there was a left corner. Nenga tell you give by jump and now jump in the race and look again. Small humps or what they would have. Now they gift away that one I even asked Makola to track. Where was Gift keeping the outer lane in that corner? Nanga tiada no power emuja in that corner okendo kuba jump. Because normally why do jump in that left corner or keeping them under. You can't have power. Accelerating ogenda muchi or jump in
slow acceleration to get
yes, kati over that na keeping extremely out era wakasatu ne what out na kuba ji again omusula omuyisa and the way he takes that and then in the learning itself, it's 1 to 5 is ever money MX1. You'll be a force to reckon with. Let me pick your mind up before running through results about the spread of the sport now. You as a mammoth of a crowd in LIRA in OMITO.
Yes, absolutely. Era njagala kukomendinga nnyo our president Honorable Jimmy Akena okututuusa ku ekyo okuyingira Lango region kuba nzijukira si mu myaka emingi nnyo emabega awo twalinayo possibility ey'okugenda first opportunity gye twafuna in recent times ey'okutwala motorsports further north.
When you had the autocross?
Yes.
In remembrance of the departed speaker?
Yes, absolutely. Which was actually quite good when we went to Omoro. Naye okulaba nti kuba I will try to focus nnyo on the side of rally cars. Naye okulaba nti Honorable Jimmy Akenawa FMU president yatutte a whole round of the national the national motocross championship. LIRA nze ndaba nti kintu kikulu nnyo era nga watandise segment eno okwogera ku sporting the national sporting act exactly ne kyetegeeza in terms of sports in this country nti erina okubeera widespread throughout the whole country. Ndaba era tuli ku mulamwa already in motorsports ndoza kintu kikulu kyetukola because we are literally in all regions of Uganda, of the country, which is very good. Era kati okulaba nga ne MX twegaseeko kweyo point okuhitinga different regions of the country ate most especially okuyingira the Lango region. It is very, very absolutely good. Joe achogeddeko, people from the Lango region are very, very welcoming people. They are very friendly. But bawulirize nnyo ate bagondera nnyo amateeka, so kiba kirungi nti bwe tugenda mu bifo bino tuyiga from the people who are on the ground, from the community. Ate era njagala kweyongera okusaba federation olaba example women in motorsports gyeri mu kulidinga nayo, it's absolutely amazing. Era nze mbadde nsaba federation, we need to take this up as a mantle of the federation mu buli community gye tugendamu gye tutwala motorsport scene, it is not only to give them a lot of enjoyment and excitement, they as a federation, as a sport, tulina okufuna exactly, tulina okufuna kyatulekayo, tulina okuleka a big impact that speaks to what motorsport is, not only in terms of competition and adrenaline, but also in developing the community. Era Keshi nga wagambye 75% of the assembly has to come from these regions. So once we impact the community more than just bringing them the sport, nebayiga omuzannyo, nebeegatta ku muzannyo, we shall have actually members associated to the federation in these areas. Kitwagala. So very, very big for the federation and very, very good line that Jeffrey Mukutwala on that front.
Yeah, I have results here which were signed by FME jury, Joe Brewer, at 16:09 hours.
16:09 hours, ziba sawa 10 n'eddakiika mwenda.
Ndagala mulweri.
Next.
Next. Somebody else next.
Peter Chigozi, chief scorer at 19:31 hours. Then Joseph Mwangala, clerk of the course, at 16:04 hours. Essence very zavinonti. Normally computers. What for the results season? But you take what time? And before you put in a protest or something, you sign the same. We're going to take up sound and it's resonating. We're not going to watch chief marshal. A backdating him also, they have 56 ladies in the Runji. I would hit Satu, those are 60 points. Abigail Katene points at Hanomwem. Then Mwanguza Abigail points Anna Motano. Mo MX2, Walid Omar, of course. Yawangude hits Satu. In fact, okusinzira ku clerk of the course Mr. Joseph Mwangala, yagambye Walid Omar had the fastest speed times.
Nice.
Track.
Nice.
True. First of all, in the first heat, he gave the riders time, a lead. Then Navagoba Nava passed him down. In the second and third heat, he set himself a target. Not get rid of Gamba. Let me lap everybody. Well, we against the lapping up of Nana Tanko.
The hunter became the hunted.
That means he won 66. He won three hits. Ashi Junior 43 points. Then Malcolm Omoding, homeboy, points. Yafunye a lot of round of applause from the locals. Homeboy. MX vets. Kaira Jeff 60 points. I'm gonna hit Satu. Bazira Ashraf points ana Mwenda. Sabunya Rogers points ana Omusanvu. Of course, there were 4 people in that class. Then MX1. Waziri Omar 57 points. Yawangude hit Esose nabera wakubiri mu hit eyokubiri afuna 17 points. Nabera wakusatu mu hit eyokusatu. Then Milton Akaki homeboy yabadde wakubiri 47 points. Semanda Ashim 45 points. Then of course mo MX1 to 5 Tabula Malcolm Gift points in Kaga. Dan Mitima points at Anomemo. Tabula Malcolm Gift hits Satu. Then Dan Mitima yafunye points at Anomemo yabade second in all the 3 hits. Then Jason Barrows points at Anomemo. Barrows yade ku track. Mwana good na
Never Mubeda.
Naduka left him pitch samba deko and trying to push the boy. Yafunye points anamutano yabade third in all the 3 hits. No class yabade mabavuzi basatu. Then mo 65 ladies. Makumbi Jamaira points in Kaga. Faith Angel Didan points at Anomwemu. Then Joy Nora points anamutano. Then mo MX85 Miguel Katende ya abali kufakivi that is Miguel Katende bike 199 ni ya yomu kwa bayi yawe abali bakola whips ku table top and very ni Miguel Ndozola is akuze ku pitch. If you see him taking those jumps, how he commits one of the speeds that way. We need to get a look at their transport in terms of lap times.
Yes.
The speeds they were afunye stretch, they are pushing them pitch, and then got those downshifts into a corner. Then at them pick at them as a jump over a tabletop. It's so encouraging. It's by now that infants, they have been really
yeah.
performing really well. Then Ramadan Mubiri points and Kaga Mwemu, of course Ramadan Mubiri about the Wakusat behind Miguel with 3 hits. He finished 17 points. Then of course Adam Kabuye points Anamutan. The last class is 65cc Musede Ethan 4 points in Kaga Mwana wa Council Musede points in Kaga. Mbabazi Ashraf points Ana Musambu. Then Hayden Kagisa points Ana Mubiri. I think it's a class that had the highest number of competitors. Yeah. So
that is what age group?
65cc up to 12.
That is very good. MX is doing very good in the future of the sport.
Because you'd be scared if these numbers ziri no waguru 1 to 5 MX1 MX2 but
yes, true.
65 85
that means there's a future in the sport. The future is bright.
Abali kufa TV omchana ali ku TV aina omwana bamita is a very
Shifi Muruli era yo mwana we
era be designer wa football ale naye nti abagenda mangati pilipili. I think
not her.
No,
the he version.
The he version. No, example kuna hiyo. Namubuza si omukuru wa Kamula ali ategwe. Ndo Mansur nena yeweke. Ana sayinga otawo. Enjoy parting shots.
One time naigera kone Mr. Former President Emeritus Kajimu. Naga nti motorsport ainengeja kutekamu discipline and patience. Nti amateka gakugonza nene conditions oyitamu oinengeri jo sortingamu. When you talk to mchakaza kugamba nti if you can manage a motorsport activity tewali mbeera munsi esobola okufailinga because you go through all sorts of crises and it is continuous. So if you can remain balanced, you can handle everything. And I agree with it. Only that sometimes case of indiscipline, at every time we competitors, in motocross, zirimuba rider parents, it becomes unfortunate. Kuwakati you're now setting bad precedents. Abana betukuza abatona. Wewe wakola nga wayisa bobi. Era rider parents tuinembereza tubera mu mugondiza fezino. Tubera ku track tekaliga mate tubera ku track mubera ku podium mulwanira ko kiragambeera mbi nnyo njagala tweddemuko tujja kuddayo mu symposium tumanye ebintu ebyo. It is good at spreading motorsport warfare around the world. I mean around the country. Neche njagala okulongosamu. Yes, tubaddeyo OMITO. Kati tuvuddeyo. Apart from the impression, tuleseyo ki. Apart from the impression, tuleseyo ki. Kubanga omuntu 2 years from now, ajja kujjukira nti 2 years ago twalinayo event. Tulina kyoleseyo. So, but not spreading event here. This event is happening. Mba mutuse ne building interest like that. Like your footprint. Association katono oba boda challenge nazo zitandise wabere ka officer katono tunakasobola okuvayo katambule. Twagenda omoro, we've never gone back because of the way we managed omoro activity. Ne sawe tuse because of the act and there's a draft constitution which is doing the rounds which you need to revisit. Time to say federation it can copy best examples like FUFA. Unfortunately, let's do partnerships with these towns. I keep thinking, let's start doing partnerships with these areas, these districts. The picnic interest. Zoka the bidding as the Salem event to bawa 1, 2, 3, 4. Then you're able to do ABCD event available, and that's how we need to go. Nenga to vemu buskobo butono. Let us look at the big picture. Tuberenga tutambula mujira mukulikayo LIRA. Next weekend we are going to this weekend Muzuri. We're going to Muzuri for autocross.
You're going to compete?
He's the deputy CEO, the assistant, somebody. I'm not too sure what video
Mwengama baby was yes. Njagala era okuwebaza okwongera okulaba